My name is Dr. Jasleen Jolly. I am a clinical academic. I'm an associate professor in multidisciplinary vision research. I'm a vision consultant for pharma companies, vision tech companies, and I'm also an independent academic, which means I work outside of the university system, working with the third sector and universities who are happy to work with me, but I don't have technically a home base. I work for myself, and this means that I work worldwide. And although I'm primarily based in the UK, I can work anywhere, and I end up traveling quite a lot. My work involves working with companies to optimize their technology, design clinical trials, train clinical trial sites. My purpose is to come up with tests that can actually measure whether the therapy is actually successful or not. And so my background as a clinician, so I'm a clinical academic because I'm a clinician as an allied health professional, but so I specialize in visual function testing and also looking at visual structure. And I put that knowledge together in order to understand how to measure those things as a proxy for whether the therapy is working. So I'm looking at how what exactly the therapy is doing and what we want to measure in order to understand whether the therapy is working. And so obviously what we're looking at is going to differ from therapy to therapy for each new therapy that we're looking at. One of the beauties of my job is that I don't actually have a typical day. So one day I might be working on a clinical trial protocol, and then the next day I'm traveling to a clinical trial site anywhere in the world to work with the local team in implementing that protocol. Then the next day I might be attending a meeting to meet all the trial investigators for a clinical trial site. The next day, I might be working at a conference or attending and presenting at a conference. The following day, I might be working on a paper, a scientific paper. And then the next day, I might be working with a charity and presenting to their members. The next day, I might be analysing some data, which is a completely different skill set again. And then the following day, I could be doing something else completely. So every day is completely different, and not all of my parts of my work involve being in the same country, and I can be working with students, charity members, professional bodies, the regulators, different companies, different universities, and the variety is absolutely wonderful and keeps me on my toes. Well, the variety, as I've already mentioned, is really exciting, and keeping my skill set honed. Also, because I'm still doing some clinical work as well, that adds variety, and it also makes sure my research is constantly grounded in the patient experience. I also do a lot of equity, diversity, inclusion, and accessibility work, which adds variety. And the advocacy work means that I'm constantly mindful that patients are not just patients. They are our loved ones, our colleagues, they are our friends, people around us can also have disabilities, and that's really important to be mindful of. So we need to be always thinking of that and advocating for other people. But the most exciting thing is the letters I get from patients that remind me why I do what I do and why I work so hard. So the excitement I get from people when they have experienced something for the first time after a therapy, or the hope that they feel after they have come across something I've said or done, and they feel like someone is finally hearing them or seeing them for the first time in years and is speaking up for them. And that really is what keeps me going and what keeps me grounded. Well, the kind of work I do is beautiful because it's so multidisciplinary. So I had a clinical career first, and then I did higher degrees that were not related to my undergraduate degree, but that helped me with my research because it allowed me to put different things together in pieces of the puzzle and think outside of the box. And because I'd also worked in different clinical areas, I felt that was really helpful. So you, I think finding out what interests you and pursuing the qualifications that are relevant to your areas of interest, that's what you need. But definitely at school doing biology and physics were the most helpful. As I progressed, figuring out what higher degrees I needed accordingly. And my PhD was actually a clinical research fellowship from the National Institute of Health and Social Care Research. So I was able to combine clinical work and clinical research, which was highly competitive to get. But it meant that I was able to consolidate what I'd done and also carry on working and building on what I'd already started, which was amazing. Don't be in a rush. My career is not linear at all. So I trained as a allied health professional. And then I had a clinical career, and I worked for 7 years. And then I did my second degree. And then I worked for a number of more years. So after my master's, I then got a post where it was 50% research, 50% clinical. And then I did my PhD by my NIHR fellowship. So my career has gone like this and not like this. I didn't rush to do one degree after the next, after the next. And actually that has been to my advantage, especially because I've done so many different clinical sections, and I've had a teaching post in there, and I've done so many different aspects of research within that. So, and that has really helped me in my research now, because I can think outside of the box and I can fit together the different jigsaw pieces in a way that someone who's had a linear career can't. So don't feel like you have to rush through and tick all the degree boxes. Take your time, figure out who you are, get some life experience. Because also being a mature student meant that I was able to bring something different to my PhD, and I was able to tackle things in a different way. And I think I got a lot more out of it than many of my younger counterparts, and I was able to take a lot more ownership out of it. And I actually got my professorship 8 months after I finished my PhD. So taking my time didn't hold me back. If anything, it was the opposite. And also it meant I could live a whole life. Like I was able to take time out, I've worked in 5 different countries. Before then, I was able to do a lot of traveling. And I don't regret any of it. So enjoy all the different things that you can do along the way.